Welcome back to the GreenLight Investor for the week ending October 2nd, 2015. Our goal at the GreenLight Investor is to provide a resource to make managing your 401k both a simple and easy process. We do this by using red, green, and yellow cells to help you decide when to buy, what to buy, and when to sell. This presentation is for educational and informational purposes only and should not be taken as personal investment advice. The examples shown are exactly that. They're examples of how you can use this worksheet to help make investment fund choices within your 401k plan. Please refer to your own investment policy to make certain that the choices you make are appropriate for both your investment time horizon as well as your understanding and acceptance for taking on risk in financial markets. With that said, let's go ahead and go right into our worksheet. Each week we'll update this worksheet, and on the left side we have the investment choices available to you within your 401k. The different headings are the fund number, the symbol, the fund name, and a description. As we scroll down this worksheet, you'll see that the core investments are right at top. These are the index funds that have the inflationary bond securities, the general bond fund, the U.S. total market index, and the international total market index. As we scroll down this, we'll start out with the most conservative investments at the top, the money market, fixed income, U.S. growth and income. And as we move down the worksheet, we go to the U.S. Equity funds, which are a little bit more aggressive, international funds, which tend to be more aggressive, and then the sector funds, which tend to be the most because you have concentration in a single sector. Middle part of the worksheet, we update the performance each week. We are starting out a new quarter, so the quarter to date will match the month to date returns. Each week we'll update the closing price, the month to date return, the quarter to date return, and the year to date return. The reason we do this is so that you can keep track of how your fund choices are doing compared to other funds within the different categories and sections of this worksheet. The goal of the GreenLight Investor is to keep track of which funds are doing the best on a relative basis and which ones are doing the weakest performance. And that's why we put the performance numbers in here to be looked at on a weekly or monthly basis is usually just fine. Finally, on the right side of this worksheet, we have what I believe is the most unique part of this, and that's our current weekly trends. On column U, we're going to show the long-term trend of each of the funds in your 401k plan. Column V will show the week-over-week trend change, and column W will show a numerical value and a red, green, or a yellow cell showing what the relative strength is for each of the funds and how it changes on a week-over-week basis. These are really the three most important fund or sections of this worksheet. We also have a short-term relative strength or directional bias. This gives you an early warning when the funds are starting to turn green or when they're starting to turn red. Intermediate is a little bit longer term, but like I said, the most important one to follow is the long-term trend for each of the funds that you're choosing to be in or to be out of. What's interesting is the right side of this worksheet will give a numerical value each week. When the numerical value is negative, we're going to give it a red cell. And when we have a positive value there, it'll have a green cell. And what I think is the most important part of this is the numerical values will give you a little bit of an early warning. When they tend to get smaller or the numbers are getting weaker on a week-over-week basis, that gives you a heads up that the funds are starting to weaken and it may be a good chance to get out when you see a red cell. And when the numerical values start to increase, that's starting to show relative strength in that particular fund and may give you a little bit of an early warning or an edge to get back into the stronger funds first. It also lets you see how the strength of the overall market is. Each week we'll keep track of this so you can progressively see how these numbers change. When you see a lot of red cells like we see here, you're generally in a fairly weak market. Here's the bond funds. We've seen the fixed income has been weak for a long time, and we've tended to stay away from those in our examples. Our fixed income, or our U.S. income and equity funds, are also showing red, so we've tended to stay away from these. The U.S. equities have been turning primarily to red, so they've gone from strength to general weakness with little patches of strength showing up. So what you can see is a few of the funds that are tending to be the strongest are the ones that are turning green earliest. So it gives you a little bit of a heads up as to which funds may be the next ones that you'll want to get into when this market starts to head north again. As you see more and more green populate this area and column U, that'll mean that the overall market is starting to gain some strength. And in the international funds, we've seen a lot of red for quite some time. But here we are seeing that on a week-over-week basis, this has been a strong group. And we're also seeing that the short-term trend is trying to rally. So this may be an interesting one to watch. And what we'll be looking for are green cells to start to appear in column W. And next, let's go ahead and take a look at our sector funds. We see a little bit of green, but again, a mixture. So what I would like to see is that mixture is to see at least 2 green cells along with column U turning green. Once that does, then that gives me a better confidence level that the funds may have some strength and be able to continue heading north. All right, with that said, I hope that gives you a good way to use this worksheet to see how the overall strength of each fund is. Now let's go ahead and see how we can use this information to help you make choices within your 401k. To do so, you just click on View, Custom Views, and then go to the all capital My Current Allocation and click Show. This will give you a section of this worksheet that will let you allocate funds. I believe it was last week or 2 weeks ago, we allocated a little bit of capital. We were 100% in the money market. We're now 80% in the money market. We would like to start allocating, but we're again being patient and waiting for the green lights to appear. In order to see how our funds are performing, we simply slide the current weekly trends columns closer to column H where the fund allocations are. And what we're looking to do is find different funds that have at least 2 green cells to the right of column V, and we would like to see yellow or green cells in column U. So all we have to do is scroll down and start looking for our funds and see how they're doing. We allocated 10% to our blue chip growth. We wanted to do this one a little bit early for the example. We saw 2 green cells. We're actually still seeing the green appear, so we're okay. And we're neutral on here. To be positive, we'd like to see a green, and if we see green, we may allocate another 10% to that fund, as that appears to be quite a relatively strong performer in the group. Let's scroll down a little further on the international funds. We still don't have any allocations, but we may get a heads up as we're seeing a lot of green lights here on the short-term column. If we see the intermediate and long-term turn green, as well as green cells appear on the week-over-week trends, we'll start allocating capital back into this group. Right now we have 0% out of the 30% that we would like to have in this group. And finally, we also allocated a 10% allocation to this fund. We had 2 green lights appear. Didn't get the confirmation of the green here. This one's turned red. We'll give this one more week. If it turns red next week, we'll go ahead and move this back to our cash fund or to another fund that is green on both sides of column V. If this one does turn green again, we'll go ahead and give it another week to perform. That's an example of how you can use this worksheet, particularly this section, to help allocate funds. Keeps you going into the stronger funds, and when the markets get weak as they are now, gives you a little bit of a heads up and an opportunity to move capital back into cash or into safer funds to stay away from the downdrafts of the market. So we give you advice or help in deciding which funds are appropriate and when is a good time to be in and when is a good time to be out of the funds that you choose. Lastly, at the very top, if you want a little bit more information on allocating assets, there's a questionnaire, and that can help you decide how much you should allocate to each of these funds. And on the left side here, if you'd like to see how you're doing overall as far as your savings for retirement, we also have a one-click retirement planner. It takes about 10 minutes to go through, and once in a while it's a good checkup to see how you are on course, especially after you've seen ups and downs in the markets. That's what I've got for this week. I hope it's been helpful in giving you some ideas and resources for making choices within your 401k. Let's go ahead and go back to our main page. Click on With Performance Columns. We'll click Show, and we're right back to our main page. If you'd like to have a copy of this sent to you via email, you can send an email to me requesting this at the email shown here. You can also go to this website. If you go to the website each week, I'll upload a copy of this worksheet so you can take a look at it and customize it so that it works for the style of investing that you're interested in. And you can always email me with any questions, or if you'd like to go through this a little bit closer, so you can use this as one of the tools to help you allocate assets within your 401k. I want to thank you for taking a few minutes to go through this worksheet with me, and I hope you have a great week ahead. Thank you.